Hello children, good morning. Welcome for your biology class. Today we are going to study the continuation of the chapter evolution. So today we are going to focus upon evidences for evolution. The first evidence, that is paleontological evidence. So paleontological evidence we get from fossils. So fossils are the remains of dead plants and animals which were buried under rocks millions of years ago. We get in sedimentary rocks. Study of fossils from different sediments, it indicates the geographical time period in which the organisms existed. The life forms varied over time to time. Some life forms, they were restricted to particular geographical time span. We can easily identify. For example, dinosaur, they lived once upon a time. Now it is not there. How do you know dinosaurs? They lived by means of fossil record only we are able to get. Okay, and which era, during which period they existed. So that also geographical time period also we can find out. And now the new forms, they replace the dinosaur. So the new forms, so how they appeared and during which time they appeared, that also we can find out. Okay, these are the fossils we got from sedimentary rocks. Some of the fossils have been marked here. So now see the fossil record of hearts. So here by getting, actually for hearts, we get full fossil record. Even for human being also we get, that we will study in later part of the chapter. So here the Mesohippus, Meryhippus, Pliohippus. So these all are different hearts as fossils we got during different time. Okay, so by comparing this one, we can tell one form it slowly evolved, converted into another form. And the form now what the hearts living today, you call that as equus. So for that we get the skull of the hearts, or forelimb or hind limb. If we get also, easily we can find the sketch of the hearts like organism. So once upon a time lived, we can find out. From embryology. So according to Ernst Haeckel biogenetic law, so it states that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. It means, so embryological stages of organisms so they are showing the evolutionary history. So how do they show? So when you see all the vertebrate embryos, so they show some common features. Presence of gill slits, maybe the fish it has to be there, even though you can see the embryo of other organisms. You see here in the case of reptiles, birds and human being also, you can see the presence of gill slits. Maybe it's not needed, but still they show during embryological stages. And presence of tail, okay, you can see even in human being also. And the presence of notochord. Okay, so the notochord, it is converted into vertebral column, but still embryos, they show the presence of notochord. Okay, these are some features, the similarities being shown in all vertebrate embryos. So from there we can tell all of us we share common ancestry. From comparative anatomy and morphology. So here for this homology and analogy we can study. Homology means what? The organs, when you see, externally they may look different morphologically. They may perform different function, but internally and the embryological development of the organs, when you study, that is, they will be resembling. Anatomically they will be similar, morphologically they will be different, and they will be performing different function. Bones of forelimbs of whale, cheetah, birds, amphibians, humans, if we compare, you will get. So here you see here they have given different types of animals coming under mammalia: man, cheetah, whale, bat. So for bat, the forelimb is helpful for flying, whale for swimming, cheetah for running, for man for doing various work. Externally they look different, functionally they are different, but internal structure, presence of bones, humerus, radius, ulna, carpal, metacarpals. So they will be resembling each other. And hearts and brains of vertebrates, that is also coming under this category. And thorns of bougainvillea and tendrils of cucurbita, that is from plant side we can give example. Homology is the result of divergent evolution. What is divergent evolution? So as the organisms, they are looking similar embryological development, but anyhow by occupying different places. Okay, so they have to show adaptations, different directions. So because of that, so that you call that as divergent evolution. The adaptation developed in different directions. For example, whale helpful for swimming, for bat helpful for flying, because they live in that environment. Accordingly, that organ also, the forelimbs also, it has to show adaptation. So in different directions they were adapted. So this type of evolution you call that as divergent evolution. Okay, homologous organs in plants. Thorns of bougainvillea and tendrils of cucurbita, both of them, they are showing the common embryological development. When you see, both of them, they arise from the axillary bud. Okay, they are the modifications of axillary bud. But here bougainvillea, it is thorn, but in cucurbita it is tendril. Okay, externally they are different, but when you see anatomically, both of them are the modifications of axillary bud. So they are also coming under example for homologous organ. So homologous organ, you should not forget, they are the result of divergent evolution. Okay children, they ask in exam divergent evolution and the convergent evolution. You should be able to tell what are the examples for that. So like that you should be able to write that. Next one, analogy. Analogy is just opposite to homologous organ. They are having same function but different structural plan. For example, eyes of octopus, when you compare along with mammals, octopus, they belong to invertebrate, mammals are vertebrate, but when you see, they will be looking similar. So that's why this that same function, but when you see, structure will be different. And wings of butterfly, when you compare along with birds and flippers of whales, dolphins and those penguins, so that is coming under example for analogy. So analogous organs, they are the resultant of convergent evolution. Why convergent evolution? Because different organisms, they occupy the same environment. All, for example, insect also they have to fly, birds also they have to fly. So as they are sharing the common environment, they are developing adaptation, presence of wing like that. So anatomically, when you see, they may be different, but functionally it will be similar. And morphologically also they will be similar. Outside feature, it will be similar. That you call that as convergent evolution. See here children, sweet potato and potato. Sweet potato, it is the modification of root. Potato is the modification of underground stem. Both of them coming under analogous organ. Example for analogous organ. So analogous organs in animals. So wings of any insect you can take when it is compared along with all other vertebrates. So when you see, they are coming under, that is analogous organ, because insects, they are coming under invertebrates. These all are vertebrates. Insect's wing is not supported by bones, but here it is supported by bones. So it is all of them, they are helpful for fly. All you call that as wing, but internally they show some differences. So that it is coming under analogous organ. Analogous organ is example for that is convergent evolution. Homologous organ, it is as a result of divergent evolution. That you should not forget. Difference between convergent and divergent evolution, they can ask by giving organs of some organism. They can ask, they show which type of evolution. So you should be able to write children. There may be direct questions also, indirect questions also. So you should be able to answer. So it is very simple. Only mark the differences between homologous and analogous. We have to remember. Then automatically convergent and divergent evolution. Molecular homology. So there are similarities in biomolecules of different groups of organisms. When you see the sequences of nucleotides, it is similar in apes and humans when you observe. Even we similar, our DNA, some of our genes, it is similar to other lower organisms also. Why? Because all of us, we share some common ancestry. That is molecular homology, you call that as biogeography. So different biogeographical distribution of different groups of organisms indicates common or shared ancestry in that restricted region. So because of habitat isolation, as they are isolated, they are not able to move, their movement is restricted in the particular geographical area, they will develop some modification. Okay, so that type of this one evidences, you call that as biogeography. In a particular area, the organisms living, they will be resembling each other and they show adaptation according to the place living. You see here, all are camel only, they belong to different areas, so that's why they show some differences. Okay, so this is example for evidences for biogeography. Okay children, so we studied different evolution, evidences for evolution and all. So study thoroughly. So if there is any doubt, no, still you can contact me. So different evidences, let us recollect one by one. So first we studied regarding paleontological evidence. Second we studied regarding embryological evidence. Okay, and next is comparative anatomy and morphology. So then the another one we studied regarding molecular homology. Okay, then the final one we studied regarding biogeography. In this, no questions are being repeatedly asked from homologous and analogous organs, convergent evolution and divergent evolution. Okay children, study thoroughly these all.